Lars von Trier, Stanley Kubrick, both in a competition to find out who's a more terrible person.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know enough about Lars von Trier. He just creeps me out more often than anything else.
I haven't heard anything recent, but his most famous thing is that
he pissed off
Bjork to the point that she stopped acting.
Mm-hmm.
For 22 years. She was in the Northman for 20 seconds or something.
I still need to watch this.
It's really good. It's really entertaining. Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice, accessible Eggers movie. It still feels like an Eggers movie, but it also is a fun, Viking epic. I really liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that The Lighthouse was also pretty accessible, but I guess it's not. Most people think that one's accessible. When I compare it to The Witch, though, I feel like if I tried to get someone to watch The Witch, they'd be like, Old English? I guess that's in The Lighthouse, too, but...
But it's more funny in that one. No, I would say that, in my opinion, The Lighthouse is more accessible. And I think The Northman is more accessible than that. But they all have, I think they're all... That's the thing, though. I think they're all pretty accessible, but then people are like, that's a weird movie. And I'm like, I mean, thematically it's a little funky, but, it's fine. But we sit around watching 7-hour movies, so...
Yeah, that's true. Our judgment is pretty skewed from people who only watch the superhero movies and rom-coms that come out today.
Yeah.
But...
Witches. Witches. So it's been about a week and a half, Thomas. We had to postpone a couple of days, but we're still gonna record in another couple days probably for our real quick before I forget, did you ever watch the movie Magic from the 70s? The puppet one,
the Anthony Hopkins one. No, I haven't seen it, but I want to.
It's getting a remake, and Sam Raimi is directing it. Yeah, I just found out about that 10 minutes ago. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's fun. And really creepy.
I imagine it will be. Have you seen the Tales from the Crypt episode? It's not... I don't think it has anything to do with the movie, but it's just a movie. It's an episode about a ventriloquist who's got a little... He's got a little attached brother on his hand that is actually in the puppet and
I think this sounds familiar. I think I might have seen it once 12 years ago or something.
That one's funny.
Most Tales from the Crypt episodes I've seen. Yeah. It was once a very long time ago.
Of all the Tales of the Crypt episodes, that one always stuck out to me as the most Sam Raimi. Because it's kind of just bonkers and fucking weird. But, I wonder if he saw that and he's like, oh, I could do that. But I can't remake the Tales from the Crypt episode. I better find a movie about a killer ventriloquist dummy that isn't Dead Silence.
Yeah.
But
yeah, let's see. What watch anything new? Do anything new?
I rewatched The Brood. I don't know if I mentioned that the
last time you talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. I reread all of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I think you had just started that.
Yeah. I had swapped to the anime for a little bit, but then I was like, I'm enjoying it, but it's taking too long. I want to get to the good stuff, so I read through all of Z, all of the OG stuff too. So all of the OG, all of Z. Then I read through all of the anime's content of Super. I'm halfway through the Moro arc, which is unadapted territory. Mm-hmm. And it is okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It might be the best arc in Super so far, but honestly,
Super's just not great.
Super has some okay ideas, but I always feel like they just wet noodle the execution of just about everything they do. It still has its moments, but yeah, for the most part, it's kind of just eh. It's not as high quality as Z was. But yeah, it's fun now. I still enjoy it. Let's see. It's not movie or media. I guess it's technically media related. I've been kind of getting into this band that I just discovered called Sparks, and it turns out Edgar Wright directed a documentary about him last year.
Oh yeah. I remember. I was like, why do I know that name? I haven't listened to the band, but I remember the documentary and me going, oh, I should listen to this band and go. And I remember queuing it up, and then I had to do something, and I never did it. I never got into it. I never did what I was going to do.
They are really good, but it baffles me that they're like such a successful and like kind of trend-setting band from what I understand. Like they were doing shit before like the whole synth, like they did like a synth pop album in like the 70s. But they're like it's two brothers who are in the band, and like one of them for like the majority of their early run tried rocking a fucking toothbrush mustache, and I get what he was going for because he's clearly like a fan of Chaplin. Eventually he changed it to like the like really thin, like just right above the lip only mustache. But yeah, so like the majority of their content, you just have a guy on the keyboard who just straight up looks like Adolf Hitler, and it's really weird.
And then he looks like John Waters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, okay.
But goddamn, do they make some good music though. Yeah, but yeah, no, I don't know if he was trying to be like Randall from Clerks and being like, nah, I can take it back, but it wasn't working.
What Clerks? Wow, yeah. Still haven't seen Clerks 3. I think it'll probably be like 2 years before.
One of my coworkers went and saw like the big premiere of it in Seattle, and like was present while Kevin Smith gave like a 2-hour Q&A. And he was like, do you care if I spoil it? And I was like, no. And he spoiled it. And it's like, yeah. Well,
did he like it?
He did like it. But he also...
Did he like the other ones?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
He's just like, no, I hate the other ones. That's why I went to the premiere.
Yeah. I recall liking the first one. It wasn't that long ago I saw it. So it's a bit crude, but...
Yeah, like, I get it. I just not... The people liking the first one doesn't bother me or anything, and I get it. The second one, I'm just like...
Yeah, the second one... like crosses some lines that it's like, oh, I see the point with the first one in a lot of cases. It still kind of like crosses the line at certain points where it's like, all right, maybe you don't need like necrophilia jokes like that. Like that seems like,
yeah. I think with Clerks 1 specifically, is it just really mean to the women in the cast?
It is, and I could understand it to a certain point because, like, the characters are meant to be jerk asses who think they're right. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I can kind of see that.
But it's not them being mean to them. It's just like...
Yeah, the movie
I'm
itself.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely is. Because, like, that whole finale of Clerks 1 is very mean-spirited. And it's like, that character didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
It's just like... she's kind of cheating on her fiance in a way, I guess. Like, but it's like, she doesn't deserve that. Like, yeah. But I guess that'll be relevant to the topics of one of our movies today.
Yeah.
Do people deserve things that happen to them? I guess kind of both.
Yeah, kind of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know you said it was going to be like a good. I do think that was like a thematic, not just because both the directors are evil, but you know.
No, but yeah. He went and saw Clerks 3, and I know what happens at the end. And it's like, oh,
am I going to really enjoy that ending?
It might be a little cathartic, but...
They die. They get shot in the head.
I'm not going to say anything.
That's going to be something like... Okay, I'll eventually watch it when I'm, really, really hating myself. All right, what did Lyndon do this week?
I saw you went and saw Avatar.
I saw Avatar twice in theaters.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
I don't know if I'll get around to seeing it in theaters again. I might stream it on Disney Plus before the sequel.
So I remember when it first came in theaters, I really liked it. Mm-hmm. And then there was kind of a cultural thing that's still prevalent where people really like to hate on it. Just because, it's... Yeah. People can hate on it for, like, actual reasons, but it's the highest grossing. Yeah. And people are like, do you even remember the main character's name? I'm like, I don't remember the main character's name of the vast majority of movies we watch the week we watch them. Like, that...
Yeah. I mean, I understand if they're talking about, like, if they want to make the movie out to be more culturally significant than it was, because, like... It was pretty culturally significant in 2009, but it was kind of a flash in the pan. Like, it kind of dropped relevancy pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that, I'm not speaking to the quality of this movie. I saw it once on DVD in 2009, and I remember thinking it was okay, and just haven't revisited it since. But I didn't think it was like bad or anything.
Well, but like in general, high school, me, even though I hadn't rewatched it, I just started like kind of being like, Avatar sucks. But I rewatched it, and I think I like it even more than I did when I first watched it. I think it has a lot going for it. I think it looks really, really good, even 13 years later. And it's nice seeing like a big action blockbuster that makes billions of dollars that actually has like, you know, a creative heart to it.
Yeah.
I think maybe I've just been so disenfranchised the last like 7 years of blockbusters.
7.
12 since Avatar came. But I think James Cameron really wanted to tell a story. I think he had a lot of really cool ideas. I think he always goes all in on everything. Like he had a linguist make an entire language. Sigourney Weaver and all the people that played scientists like met with botanists and like tried to learn as much. Yeah. There's just a lot in the new one, The Way of Water. They, for the first time, they've motion captured underwater. So all the swimming scenes are actually the actors swimming.
Oh, that's cool.
So everyone had to learn free diving so they could actually be swimming, which is bonkers. But, that's what's cool about making movies.
Yeah. No. It's nice that, like, directors like James Cameron are still kind of trying to push the envelope and not just rely on CGIs and like computers so often. I mean, obviously he is, but he's
pushing the very limits of it.
Yeah, there really hasn't been a whole lot of that in recent years because it's mostly we need to make $1 billion, therefore we need to put as little money into this movie as we can possibly get away with.
But it's so fucking wild because this movie, Avatar, cost a lot of fucking money. It cost like $260 million or something. But then you look at Endgame. Costs $100 million more dollars.
Yeah.
Does not look very good.
No, it doesn't.
Infinity War does not look very good. Most of the MCU movies, not looking great.
Yeah, and I also wonder if, like, time has, like, something to do with that, because I feel like James Cameron is one of those directors where he's got enough, like, big hits under his belt. I don't know about, I mean, I'm sure in the modern day he's had, like, 12 years to do Avatar 2. Where it's like, because, like, obviously with fucking Avengers Endgame, people are like, we want the follow-up now.
Well, yeah, no, that's a big reason the MCU, I feel like, is just...
they just slot movies in a schedule and just kind of go from there. Yeah. And it's like, I think that can lend to strengths. I like a little bit of structure and a little bit of looseness. I think that usually yields the best results. But
it's just baffling to me because there's going to be 5 Avatar movies. Like, that's what he wanted to do. And they're all supposed to be out by, like, 2026. He's also, like, he's starting production on 4 right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, they shot, like, 2 and 3 back-to-back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see it regardless of if I rewatch the first one and even think it's magnificent or not.
Yeah,
it's like...
in general, I think it's a breath of fresh air, and it looks really nice, and I like the characters in it quite a lot, and it has some of my favorite world building, just like visual world building, and just like subtle world building too in it. It's just very, very fun.
The cat's back.
And there is like a 2 or 3 minute like sneak peek at the end of the credits of Way of Water. And it's just like characters swimming around. And it looks fucking incredible. And I'm like, I forgot movies can look this good.
Yeah, damn.
So I'm very, very pumped. I think that's probably the most anticipated movie for like the rest of the year.
But does that come out?
Christmas.
I see.
Christmas movie.
Maybe I will get around to going and seeing it. The first one in theaters if it's around for a decent minute. If I don't have to rush to it.
I honestly, tomorrow I'm going to do my usual thing of going to the theater, but I'm really thinking about watching it again for a third time. It's just, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it has some of my favorite... it takes itself seriously. It's funny at times, though. And it also does my favorite thing in, like, sci-fi, which is really dumb sci-fi stuff. Like, they have a giant robot mech, but the robot mech still uses a big gun instead of, like, having a gun on. And they took it a step further, where he has a giant Bowie knife. That's my favorite fucking shit. Besides Avatar, I watched 10 Things I Hate About You. I showed that to Hinatea for the first time. I think that movie's delightful. Miss Heath Ledger. He was a fun one. He was a cool dude. I watched The Island. I showed Hinatea and Pierre The Island, which is my favorite Michael Bay movie.
Is that the one with fucking
Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson? Yep. Yeah, I really like that movie. She knows we're in here. She's coming close to the door to me now. I watched Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, yeah, the Florence Pugh movie. Yeah.
Which I was, like, a year ago. I was pretty pumped for it. Because I really like Booksmart.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, that looks pretty good. And then I saw the press for it, and I was like, oh, well, that looks fucking yikes.
Yeah. But... Florence Pugh really, really tries. She's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Movie's garbage.
Yeah. Isn't Harry Styles in it?
He's so bad.
I've heard he's not good. He's in isn't he? Is this the movie he does with Chris Pine, or are they in another one together?
Yeah, no, that's this one. He's in this one. But he has a bunch of movies coming out. He's in Eternals in the after credits scene.
No.
So he's going to be in the MCU, and he's just not very fun.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what makes him beautiful. Is that them?
Yeah.
Okay. Wanted to make sure I wasn't getting them mixed up with, like, Big Time Rush or something.
I watched an anime movie 2 nights ago called Drifting Home, which is a new, like, Netflix original one. These kids get, like, stuck in an apartment, and it's like it's out in the middle of the ocean, and it's like a ghost story, but it's also like a coming of age story, and it's about, like, how the places we live in have memories and how it changes us and stuff. It was okay. It was about 40 minutes too long. It was 2 hours. Didn't need to be. There were like 6 characters. There should have been 3. Just a lot of it is like, there's a lot of fluff with not saying a whole lot. And it like looked nice, but it was all right. It's kind of annoying. It's one of those things that I'm like, I'm annoyed because this could be good.
I see.
And then I watched Dark Angel: The Ascent, which is a full moon feature, which I had heard
the trailer for that on like Puppet Master 5 when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I always wanted to watch that one.
I had heard was good. Yeah, I heard was like one of the good ones, and it is. I really like it.
Cool.
Really low budget, but a really strange script. Very weird. Has a lot of really weird ideas on like theology and like self-righteousness and like what it means to do the right thing. It's fun. It's very goofy. But really interesting. I really enjoyed it.
I'll have to add that to it. It's been a good minute since I've watched a full moon movie, and we are coming up on October.
I know I have your list, but you could always change.
Oh, don't tempt me. I might. Although I do like.
I'm in a full moon mood. Was the last time we watched a full moon movie when we did
I think.
What was it called?
Was it one that was it for the bag?
No. We watched the 5 with the vampire. What is that called?
Oh, Blood Rain.
No, not Blood.
No, Blood. Bloodstone. Blood.
I think that's the second. No, it's not. No, what is it? Fuck. Hold on, I can just look at my list. Yeah. Oh, Bloodstone's the second. A subspecies.
Subspecies.
Yeah. I kept thinking Bloodstone. I'm like, no, that's not.
Fuck.
That might have been the last full moon movie you watched.
I think I may have watched one more since then.
That was a year and a half ago. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, I'm old.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been watching. We've been watching Rings of Power, which is alright. That's the Lord of the Rings show.
Mm-hmm.
It's really long. There's too many plots that aren't good.
Oh, yeah.
It looks really nice, but it's just... They're trying to do too much.
Did you... this kind of, like, put a bad taste in my mouth. Did you see that Amazon Prime is doing a fucking Blade Runner series?
Not the anime one?
No, I think it's going to be live action.
Oh, okay. Because I heard about the anime one, which I was like, that's whatever.
Yeah.
There's a decent chunk of like comic books. So I'm like,
I've got...
I hadn't heard about the live action
first 2 volumes, like trade paperbacks of 20... I think it's 2019.
2019.
Yeah, it's 2019, 2029, and then...
There's Origins as well.
Yeah. I think this new Amazon series is supposed to be like $20.99. It's like, what are these, fucking Marvel? But, I mean, I'll go into it with an open mind, but I don't know. Amazon funding a Blade Runner series seems kind of ironic.
Yeah. A lot of things Amazon does is like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's just like, alright. Well, I'm sure that's going to be full of fucking, like, promotion, like, fucking sponsors. Maybe 2049. It's been a minute since I rewatched that. Maybe there's, like, fucking Coke ads in the fucking holograms or something. But...
That's what's very funny about the island, is there's a bunch of fucking ads everywhere for, like, MSN and Xbox.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, this is so funny.
Huh. Yeah, Xbox.
And then, Andor started premiering.
Yeah.
First 3 episodes. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. I think I'm going to wait until it's completely wrapped, and then I'll go through and binge.
I do think what they're doing is they're doing, like, 3 episode, like, arcs.
Okay.
So there's, like, a completed arc in the first 3.
Maybe I'll check it out.
I think it's really enjoyable. Not, like, my favorite or anything, but I think it expands on its character, like Andor, pretty well. It's nice and grimy, but still looks nice. I remember watching it and being like, guys, it looks like a real show when you're watching it on Disney Plus, because everything on Disney Plus looks ass.
Yeah.
She-Hulk just looks atrocious. And I've been trying, and it's funny for the most part, but God, it looks bad. Even when it's not CG, it's just like not a very fun to look at show.
I wonder if they'll ever do like a patch to like She-Hulk. Just be like, all right, it's out, it's all out. We're gonna work on other stuff, but hey, we're gonna hire a team and take your time, but make it look like
Go
at
through
least
the MCU
quality
backlog.
of MCU movies, which are also fucking awful. A lot.
That's honestly probably what the MCU will do, though, in the next 10 years, is they'll probably go back and like redo CG and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll start to be a trend.
I think
soon.
live service movies are pretty much right around the corner, especially with streaming services. If they want streaming services to survive, they'll probably have live service, like, pretty much movies.
I mean, it makes sense.
Which is kind of annoying.
And we all know who the trendsetter was for that.
George fucking Lucas.
For better or worse. Sometimes a little both. I love Cloud City. I don't like Jabba's Hut.
It's the best song ever, man.
I'm not a fan.
Jedi rocks.
I love the puppet in the background of the original.
I just like both, I guess. Yeah, Andor was good. She-Hulk is fun enough.
Mm-hmm.
And Rings of Power is fun enough for now. We'll see how I feel at the end of the day. We started watching more of The Boys again last night, and that one. I think I figured out my problem with The Boys is I feel like it's so close to saying something like really interesting, but they just fumble the execution because it's written by like white men who don't really get what they're trying to say, I guess. Like, it's so close. Overall,
got a cat burglar over there. Yeah.
Overall, I still also think it's fine, but yeah. Oh, I watched Celebrity Jeopardy yesterday. I've never watched Celebrity Jeopardy before, but it was astonishing at how stupid the questions are. Because they're all playing for charity. All the questions are for, like, infants. Or maybe not infants, but, like, if I'm getting 80% of the questions, I'm like, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
When regular Jeopardy episodes, I get, like, 10%. I'm like, yeah!
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They don't want to make the celebrities look too dumb.
Yeah.
But... yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did this week. Yes. I believe that was it. Yes. And then I watched Barry Lyndon and Dogville. All right. Let's see if we have questions today.
If I were to launch David Lynch into the sun, how fast would he travel? I know.
Question 1. If I were to launch David Lynch into... No. Question 1. Sometimes after finishing an anime or video game, I just think to myself, well, that's over. Now what? Do you ever feel empty after finishing a movie? All the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you mean empty in the sense that you feel like nothing was accomplished from watching that. Like, I can't tell, or if like it shocked him to the core and he feels empty without emotion. But both of those things have happened to me many times.
Yeah, definitely. Usually it happens when I get involved in something, like I'm binging fairly often. Like, let's say I'm watching like 3-season show over the span of like a week or something, and then just suddenly I finish it and I'm like, well, I don't know what to, because like, god damn, like it's kind of like starting a new show is kind of like biting into an apple. Like, it's not technically hard, but it's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. The cat is going nuts over there. Anyway, now that you're walking over to the door.
Hello? Hi.
Hi.
Come here.
But
Where are you going?
Oh.
Come here.
Anyway, but yeah, sometimes.
I guess the cat just want to hang out.
Oh no,
I got the other cat.
it's the owl.
Oh. All right. So yes, even like more recent example, like Satan Tango.
Mm-hmm.
That I was just kind of sitting there afterwards. I'm like, wow, that was something. And
Yeah.
then, but then there are movies that I watch that I just feel like are a complete waste of time sometimes. And I don't actually think that like watching anything has been a complete waste of time for me.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it does feel that way. I'm just like, wow,
Oh, definitely.
I'm empty. Why did I do that?
I've wasted a lot of
Like
hours.
superhero movie.
I mean, that's how I feel usually when I watch full moon movies. I'm always like, why did I do that? But I can't.
Or you're like, whoa!
Yeah, sometimes I'll find that good one where it's like, yes, this is what I live for.
When we were watching Subspecies, I was kind of like that. I'm like, what the fuck?
I don't like Subspecies compared to the bulk of Full Moon. Brilliant.
God.
I think the only moment through all of those movies that still stands out is like a yeah is when he cuts his fingers off and they turn into little like, stop motion goblins. That's great. That's
that
like,
shit's good right there.
yeah, that's the shit that I love.
All right, I'm gonna close the door again because it cat's me out.
But
I tried to let you in.
yeah.
All right, question 2 from Pierre. Can art be categorized?
Yeah, technically.
Sure, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I don't...
Categorization is an art.
Yeah, you could disagree with someone's categorization of art, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that question, I guess. Question 3. Do you ever have a great idea for a video and you don't do it only to discover someone released a video that was pretty much your idea only a few days later after you thought of it? In other words, is someone stealing my thoughts? I feel like I have ideas all the time that I see, oh, someone already did that like 5 days later. Because I just don't make it for a while. Yeah. So yes, someone's stealing my thoughts and your thoughts.
Yeah. Whether it happens later or earlier, there's a lot of content on YouTube, a lot of fucking just pasty white dudes talking about movies and media. So it's like,
good thing we're here.
Yeah. Really
yeah.
standing out amongst the crowd.
Oh, Pierre was also wondering, will the 31 Days of Halloween videos be finished this year?
Not this year.
Oh, man. He's going to be so disappointed.
Maybe next year.
5 years, you'll just finish those last like 4 videos or whatever you need. 10 videos.
I think it's like 7.
7, yeah.
Yeah, like a week. I burnt out hard that last week. I was
You're
in
like, I'm gonna do 31. I'm like, you sure about that time?
if I had properly prepped for it, yes. But then like it was like a week before October, and I was like, well,
Fuck.
time to start watching werewolf movies. And then, oh man, they're all so bad. Maybe if I had done vampire movies, I could have powered through it. But I remember just sitting in my car. And I was like, fuck, I didn't get a chance to record this when I was at home. So I like had to like pull out my phone, and I was like, here's my review for Wolfen. I've got no script, and I'm just in my car. Yeah.
Anyway, I've almost watched 45 full moon movies.
Let me see. Look at my list. Because that's the one list I have.
Yeah, I think it's it.
I've technically got
53.
I've technically got more lists. They're just not public.
And I think you have a couple things on there that we've both watched, because I'm like, I don't know if I want to add it, like Bride of Reanimator.
Oh, yeah. No, I put Full Moon Empire, and I explained I didn't explain. I think I explained on there. It's a sequel to Empire properties.
Which I might add those.
Yeah.
Like all the Ghoulie movies, I think only the first one was Empire or something like that.
I think the first 2, and then it got like...
The problem is, I watch all my full moon movies at 100% speed, and Thomas watches them at 150.
I watched a lot of them at 1.5. I'm sorry. I was going to watch through all the Ginger Dead...
Not the artistic man.
You watched through all of the Ginger Dead Man and Evil Bong movies, and, you know...
I will.
Try not
just
to watch
to spite you.
1.5 speed. You know what?
You know what? I'm going to watch them all at 0.5 speed.
There you go. That's the way that they were truly meant to be experienced.
Was that Tim Allen?
Yeah, that's one of the guys. That's one of the guys in Evil Bong.
Yeah, let's talk about the movies. Let's talk about Barry Lyndon, Thomas's favorite movie.
It's one of my favorite movies.
It's good. It's fun.
Good. It
and
is
also
very
sad,
fun.
but
yeah, it does have its sad.
Not super sad.
Yeah, I don't think that
Barry Lyndon's kind of a dickhead.
He is. I see. The reason why I really like this movie is because, like, he's a pretty well-rounded character. He's, like, a terrible person, but he's also kind of a good person at times. So it's, like, he's very inconsistent, just like a person. So that's what I kind of like.
Except for Thomas, who is 100% good all of the time. Saint Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Name a school after him. Thomas Griffin Academy of Fine Arts.
Sure. Why not? But... yeah, so Barry Lyndon is a movie about an Irish boy whose father was killed in a duel, like, shortly after he was born. And his mother turned away suitors and stuff, and she was like, no, I only live for my son. So they ended up staying with Barry's uncle. He basically, like, supported them for a bunch of years. And how did Barry return that service other than to fall in love with his daughter, a.k.a. Barry's own cousin? They have like a fucking like teenage romance going on, but
with like a 40-year-old Ryan O'Neal or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's not. I think he's like probably like in his 30s when they made
something
this.
Like that. It's just funny.
But yeah, he's like the same age consistently, but they just kind of try to make him. He like hunches
he has a
over.
Different wig in this, yeah.
Yeah, he like
I'm Barry Lyndon.
I love the part where she's like, because there's a part where, like, you know, they're playing, like, fucking cards or something. Huh? Oh, he was 34. Yeah. This was, like, shortly after Paper Moon, right? Or this would have been
2 years after Paper Moon.
2 years after Paper Moon. That's a good one. I need to rewatch that one. Although I don't like... I like him in this movie, and I like him, and I like his acting and stuff I've seen him in, but I don't really like Ryan O'Neal. Because he like beat his wife in the 80s.
Wait, no, he's dead.
I can't.
He'll be dead soon.
he was really mean to his daughter, right? That's what Tatum, the girl who's in Paper Moon, that's what we had talked about.
Oh, I think he had some like domestic violence.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. But
so him and Kubrick really.
Yeah. But really the Shia LaBeouf of his time. No, he probably isn't anywhere near the level of like. I mean, they're both bad. But Shia LaBeouf like shot stray dogs and shit to like hone himself.
Everybody's just a dickhead.
Yeah,
everyone's evil.
But yeah. So he's in love with his cousin. There's like a scene where they're playing cards, and she like takes her fucking like neck choker thing and like puts it in her fucking like breasts, and she's like, "You have to find my ribbon, or else I will not think very highly of you." And he just kind of like opens her hands. I can't find the ribbon. Like it's that scene cracks me the fuck up. It's so funny. But yeah, eventually an Englishman, a redcoat, comes to the town and fancies her. So he's got like a prearranged deal where he's like gonna get Barry's uncle out of debt for free, but really at the cost of marrying his daughter. And she's totally into it, but Barry is not. He's like, what?
Remember when you gave me your ribbon? Yeah. That means we'd be together forever.
I love the scene where he like confronts them, and the guy who is the red coat, I can't remember the character's name. He's got big like Alfred Molina energy. Mm-hmm. Like he always makes me laugh whenever he's doing something on screen because he's very over the top in the part. But yeah,
was it John Quinn?
It might
it was this guy.
Yep. But yeah, so he basically, John Quinn's character runs off in a huff because he's like, he takes out the ribbon that she gave him, and they're like, oh, so that's how it is. And he tosses his ribbon down. He's like, I'm an Englishman. We don't sleep with our cousins. And leaves. And then it's like, yeah, big doubt. Anyway. But yeah, so he's hard cut to the next scene, and it's like a big dinner. Oh. It's a big dinner. And what's it called? Yeah, basically they announced their marriage. Like, he's there, John Quinn's there, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna get married. And Barry Lyndon he's not Barry Lyndon at this point. He's Redmond Barry.
He's Redmond Barry, yeah.
Gets mad and chucks a glass at his face. And then basically another redcoat, like, I can't think of that character's name. I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna call him the Give Me a Kiss guy. Give Me a Kiss guy is like, hey, come here. He's not asking for a kiss yet, but he's like, come here, I'll walk you home. And he basically just kind of questions Redmond and shit. And then so basically Redmond sets up a duel, and it turns out to be a farce by the family because like they don't want to lose the money, so they like just put tow in his gun, and he shoots the guy with tow, knocks him out but doesn't do any real damage, and they basically, you gotta go. So he travels across the fucking country and gets in a bunch of fucking shenanigans.
Yeah, he immediately gets stolen all of his goods.
All of his goods, all of his money.
He joins the military.
Yeah, where he meets the Give Me a Kiss guy again, who he ends up, like, marching into battle with, and then he gets shot, and he, like, carries his body off to, like, give him a peaceful moment and a final kiss. And that moment's really sad. That one usually gets me pretty good.
And then he tries to defect, but then he's caught by the Prussian army.
Yep.
And then has to join the Prussian ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has to be a spy for the Prussian army on an Irishman, but then he's like, I cannot do harm to my fellow man.
Mm-hmm.
So then he gives it all up, and he runs away with the Irishman.
Yeah, and they both they're in the gambling business, so they're both just like...
They cheat.
Yeah, they definitely cheat. They're con men gamblers.
And they make a bunch of money. And then he meets Lady Lyndon.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start fornicating.
Pretty much.
And then her husband dies. And then he becomes Barry Lyndon.
And basically inherits a bunch of fucking wealth and property. And
that he immediately starts losing.
Yeah. Immediately. Like, the second he gets married, he's like, all bets are off. You know, like the second his wife in the fucking cart is like, can you please stop like smoking for a minute? And he just blows it right in her fucking face. You know that he's just like total fucking asshole for quite a bit of the runtime from here. Like he's really fucking full of himself for.
And I'm like, that lady is so attractive. What are you doing?
And he doesn't care. I think because I noticed. I took a
He's
note.
like, this lady does not look like my cousin.
I took a note of. So in the cousin scene where like he's playing cards with her, it's like the only scene in the movie that I noticed this kind of lighting effect. But like, she was so like brightly lit and wearing like a white dress that it was like literally glowing and bleeding into the darkness. And I kind of wrote that down because I was like, I remember the lighting in this movie being like really good, but like it's really kind of bad in this scene. And then I realized it's like, oh, it only happened in the scene with his cousin. I think that's meant to be like visually
the only
symbolic.
woman he truly loved.
Yeah, because you never see that glow
his
on
cousin.
Yeah, you never see that glow on anyone again. You see people wearing like white dresses and stuff, but it's usually in a much like tamer lighting situation where, you know, it looks more subdued and blended in with the colors of the room. But yeah, so yeah, that's my interpretation, that he never loved anyone else other than his fucking cousin, because it just seems like such a Redmond Barry thing to do. But yeah.
Yeah, and she has a son that they don't get along at all, but then he has a son with her, and he loves him.
Yeah, the son of the original Lyndon is...
Bullington.
Yeah, something like that. It's a weird name. I think it's Bullington. It's Bull something. And then Brian is their other kid that they have.
Brian Griffin.
Brian Griffin. And yeah, Brian grows up to be kind of a little bit of a spoiled brat. But yeah, fucking...
No, he doesn't grow up to be a spoiled brat.
Well, he grows up...
dies a spoiled...
He grows up a little bit to be a spoiled...
And then when he's 8, he falls off a horse that he wasn't supposed to be riding, and he fucking dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lord Bullington is left because Barry Lyndon, is beating him because...
To be fair, he did announce he was leaving before Barry beat the shit out of him.
That's true.
But Barry did beat the fucking shit out of him to the point where, like, he ruined his reputation.
Yeah, like no one was talking. Because he did it in the middle of the fucking, like, a party.
Yeah, his wife was, like, performing a concert, and his kids came in, and basically it was, like, a big stunt where, like, Brian was wearing Bullington shoes, and he's like, wow, it sucks for you that I'm not dead. It would really benefit you. Like, he fits my shoes quite nicely. Like, big fucking gesture to basically just, you know, fucking announce to the entire room of people what a shitty person fucking Barry is. But they're all probably shitty people too. I mean, so it's like, you're not really gonna get through.
But they kind of be shitty in the dark while he's just like, I'm about to beat my son.
Yep.
To a pulp.
Yep. And he does, and then their other kid dies, falls off the horse. And then, his wife tries to commit suicide by cyanide, but she doesn't drink enough of it, and then ends up just, like, in excruciating pain.
Catatonic state of pain,
Yeah. Barry's mother takes over the estate and just basically starts axing all of, like, the proper pillars of support that the place had. Like, she's got, like,
like the main, like, right-hand man of, like Lady Lyndon.
He's got a different title than tutor. He, like, tutored the kids, but, like, he's got, like, an official title. But, he gets fucking axed, and then basically, like, once word of the cyanide gets out, Bullington's like, well, I have to do something. And basically just goes and challenges Barry to a duel. And then, Barry has an opportunity to fucking, like, kill this kid or wound this kid, but he actually makes probably the right decision in the situation and chooses not to shoot him. But of course, this kid who has been put through hell by
He's like, no, we're going to keep going.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And shoots him in the leg. Needs to be amputated. And he's basically given an ultimatum after that where he's like, well, you're in outstanding debt, so you'll either go to jail or you could flee the country and I can give you like 500 francs or whatever.
Smackaroos.
Yeah, 500 currency, a month for the rest of your life if you just never come back to England. And he takes it. And yeah.
And then he dies in obscurity.
Yeah, the fucking King George quote at the end that's basically just like, yep, none of this mattered because nihilistic quote, everybody's dead. So, good, bad, they're all equal now. But, yeah, that's Barry Lyndon. And I like it. It's a good movie.
I like this movie. It's like a fun little adventure with a bunch of horrible, horrible people.
Yeah, it really is. But he does have his moments where he is kind of a good guy. Like, he saves people's lives on a couple occasions throughout the movie when he's, like, in the services.
Yeah.
You can tell that he, like, really does love his son. And I think towards the end, I think he does feel, like, regret how he treated Bullington for all those years. I think the revelation after his son's death, because, like, really, he doesn't do much after that. Like, he's kind of just in a drunken sorrow.
Yeah, he, like, drinks himself all the time, and he just,
shot in the leg.
Yeah, hangs around the farm.
Yeah.
There's actually, after he's, like, mean to his wife for a while, there's a scene where he's, like, being really nice to her, and they're, like, having fun. Like, it shows him trying to, like, he is legitimately trying at times to become a better person. Mm-hmm. But this power he keeps getting, it's intoxicating.
He's very opportunistic. Yeah. So, like, if an opportunity presents itself where he can fucking have sex or spend money or do something that'll make an ass of himself, he probably will. But as the movie goes along, it seems like he's trying to kind of pull those back again, but might be too little too late. Cruel reality of this movie does not care for his efforts of redemption, if there even are such.
Well, probably doesn't help that, like, the one support system he had growing up, his family, betrays him and lies to him and sends him onto a journey that was probably the worst time of his life in his, like, mind.
Yeah.
So then, by the time he gets his own family, his twisted brain is just like, yeah, just do whatever you want for yourself. Because that's what his family did.
Yeah. I definitely think his family needed to hold him accountable for his fucking behavior there. But yeah, I definitely don't think they made the right move by just, all right, yep, you killed a man, get going. Yeah. Because I'm sure that probably...
You also got to examine the fact that Barry Lyndon was still, like, pretty much a child at this point. He's supposed to be, like, 20 or something like that?
Yeah,
maybe younger. And he's scared. He just killed a man. He's scared. They're, like, immediately like, well, the police are coming to arrest you. He's like, what? You're scaring a child to running away so you can make money. And yeah, you could have just been like, just beat him up. Just punch him in the face. Be like, no, you're not going to get in the way of your cousin marrying. This is what she wants to do. Like, that's what she said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think this he is definitely an interesting character. It's an interesting examination of, like, power structures and how your familial unit can be like, really important to making you into, like, a whole person. And, like, he was missing a father. His uncle obviously didn't care for him too much. And yeah. So, he's not a good person, but he's a fascinating person to watch in this. Movie, I think, structurally is incredible. I think, like, it flows really, really well.
It's, like, cut, like, right in half. In the sections where he's Redmond, Barry, and then Barry Lyndon.
I think it never feels 3 hours. Never feels like it's outstaying its welcome. It looks gorgeous. Like,
yeah, it really does.
The battle scenes are big and epic, but feel intimate still and raw. And the scenes that want you to be sad, they do make you sad. Like, there are some pretty emotional scenes. Him losing his son is pretty sad. Like,
yeah. I actually really like... It's like a very small scene in the grand scheme of things, but when he's, like, heading in depression territory, and he, like, stops for a weekend and stays with that lonely woman.
It's really like they're still at this time like doing things that are maybe morally wrong, but like it's intimate and it's like meaningful.
And they cut away, but like by the end, you know that they like shared more intimate because like at first he tells her, he's like, yeah, John, but when he leaves, she calls her fucking Redmond. So it's like he clearly felt bad about lying.
And they're like from the meeting at the beginning and their embrace at the end, it feels like they've been attached to each other, which was a really interesting thing. And it was also an interesting decision to make it such a short scene because it seems relatively impactful to him.
Yeah, the movie does that a couple times because I thought his relationship with the gambler was really interesting. And it really doesn't come to any sort of conclusion after they escape. It's more like, and then he meets Lady Lyndon through him. And you see that he's at the wedding, but from that point on, he's not around. He's not mentioned, which I think is kind of. I won't say it's like a flaw against the movie necessarily, because it is a 3-hour movie. I mean, I'd be fine if it added an extra hour to the runtime, honestly, but that's just me. But yeah, fucking, I really think I would have liked to seen that fleshed out a little more. Maybe it is in the book, but I'd be one dumb fool if I thought that this was an accurate representation of the book because of how Stanley Kubrick adapts all of his fucking books. So
at the same time, though, I kind of get what I think they were going for. At least is like I feel like it's like kind of getting it out of the way quickly because it's like, no, it's him. He's dismissing these things so quickly. He's dismissing them from his mind. Like, he has these opportunities to really, like, make himself a home and a family. Like, he could be around his countrymen that he obviously, like, does enjoy the company of, like, legitimately. Or he could have, like, maybe even a life with this woman because her husband's probably dead from the way they're talking.
Yeah, it's
like, he could have a life there. He didn't need to go anywhere else. He could have just stayed there, But he's constantly dismissing it. He wants to just keep crawling up the ranks. That's all he cares about. So,
yeah,
I think it's effective in what it's trying to do there.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely see what you mean. It makes sense, especially given that he was tossed from the nest at like such that age that he probably just never felt like he could probably fucking make himself at home at a place for so long until he got to the Lyndon estate where he was dumb rich, in which case, yeah, I can see why someone would be hard pressed to walk away from that.
And I think it's another thing is like, I don't think the thing about him not loving anyone ever again, besides maybe his son, is I don't think he even necessarily knew that himself. And I don't think he necessarily wanted that. It's just like the one person he loved betrayed him. Which I don't think that's also not her fault or anything, but in his mind, he's like,
I think that she probably could have gone about it a bit more tactfully.
But she's also a child too, so it's
yes.
So it's like these weird like incel kind of vibes that he's getting, and then he's like, well, no one's gonna love me anymore, so I'm just gonna take every opportunity to become stronger, become better, become richer. And he does.
Indeed. Makes his mama proud for a bit, and then she looks sorely disappointed by the end of the movie. But, she kind of had it coming. She was kind of a bitch.
And she was kind of responsible for it, too. Like, she was in charge of the finance. That's her fault.
Yeah, no, she's
like, instead of letting my son, like, know that he can't be spending too much, I will instead fire everyone.
No, she's definitely like that cliche of like the evil woman who's like pulling the strings of the men in power. Which, I mean, they existed here and there, so fucking. But I really like this movie. The fucking. Yeah, the framing, the cinematography, the landscapes, the fucking lighting.
Yeah, I love the like all the candlelit scenes. They're so intimate and meaningful and powerful, I guess.
Yeah, they really are. Fucking, and then like, yeah, I love that shot where back to the fucking scene where it's the fucking returning of the ribbons, but like behind all of that is just this beautiful fucking. You can see hills, and then on top of the hills, there's like a fucking river, and you got the skyline on top of it. It was fucking like, oh my god, like where did you guys go to get this shot? This
They went to the
probably
1700s or whatever.
Yeah, probably the most bougie fucking location on earth. Like, and yeah, I don't know. I think that a lot of people, not to say that like a lot of films are lacking in this today. I mean, obviously kind of like the big blockbusters are, but I feel like a lot of independent films still do try to get like very good like setting shots. But this movie's probably got some of the best setting shots I think I've ever fucking seen. Like, there is some fucking real stellar ones.
Yeah, it's just like, even the slower like scenes are just so much fun to look at.
Yeah, they really are.
The scene with him and Bullington in the barn looks fantastic.
Oh,
it's
yeah. And there's tons of shots that are like straight up just like, you know, fucking movie in-universe versions of like famous Renaissance paintings. Yeah. Like that, the one that comes to mind is like, there's that fucking Renaissance painting of like the sleeping drunk guy, and that's what they use. That's what they're using as inspiration when Bullington like challenges him with the cane. He like first walks in and he's just kind of sleeping there. Oh my god. But this movie is stellar. Definitely my favorite Kubrick piece by probably a lot.
I still haven't seen 2001, and I still haven't seen like Lolita and Spartacus, and I do think I
have missed a couple of his movies.
I like The Killing more, I think, from what I remember, and I like Paths of Glory a lot. But I really, really like this one. And this is definitely, from what I've seen, maybe one of his more underrated works.
Okay.
What?
This might be my second favorite one. Killer's Kiss is pretty great.
I fucking hate it. I hate that movie so. That movie's so bad.
Yeah.
It's his worst, by far, in my opinion.
Well, he made
it so he can make his best, you know?
I still need to watch The Killing. I still need to watch Paths of Glory. I've seen, well, the earliest I've seen aside from Killer's Kiss and whatever that first one.
Fear and Desire, which I don't think is as bad.
Yeah, and he didn't even release that one. That one got released like fucking years after his death, like later. But maybe not. He might have still been alive when that released, or it might have been shortly after his death, because I think it got released like 2001 and he died like 99, didn't he? I don't even fucking remember.
I don't know.
But
I was like 5 or 4 when he died. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, Barry Lyndon. I imagine most people out there probably wouldn't like this movie.
If you've seen Kubrick movies and you like his style, then you might.
Yeah.
I think it might be a departure from something like A Clockwork Orange or The Shining.
No, definitely. It's not.
But I do think both those movies are, like, longer than, like, they need to be. Like, he still has, like, a lot of scenes that breathe, like, life into the movie that aren't necessarily, like, extremely relevant to the plot. So I could see someone taking the stepping stone from watching one of those into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you like historical dramas, I think Barry Lyndon is exceptional.
Oh, yeah. No.
But I think there are a decent chunk of people that would like this movie, but there is a lot of people that would not.
Oh, yeah. No, I think this is, like, one that, like, even a lot of Kubrick fans tend to sleep on, just because it's not quite as, like, it's not quite as edgy as some of his other movies, and it's not quite as, like, I don't know, experimental as some of them. Like 2001's a little, it's not necessarily experimental. I mean, maybe a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Barry Lyndon. I love it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
You would give this one a 9?
I would. You would give this one a 10.
Yeah, this is one of my 10s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ring the bell! We should get a bell for every time Thomas gives something a 10.
Gosh, no.
We'll get me one, but it'll be a really, like, tiny bell. Because I can give 10s, like, 8 times more than you. Yeah. Maybe not 8. 4 times more than you.
Yeah, I try to Yeah, I try to be pretty reserved
Okay,
with my
yeah,
tens.
you get it. You don't want to give a Serbian film a 10.
Definitely not. But, yeah. Dogville. I really wish I had picked The Favorite instead. I forgot about The Favorite. I was like, what would be a good double?
Did you not like this movie?
I don't know.
I really like this movie. I think this is my favorite Von Trier movie. So I'm annoyed because Von Trier's alive, but it's just like he's not a great guy, and I try not to watch movies by not great people. Like David O. Russell's Amsterdam's coming out in 2 weeks. Not gonna fucking watch that.
I don't even remember who that is.
That's the guy who made Silver Linings Playbook and Three Kings, I think. He groped his trans niece and admitted to it. And horribly verbally abused Amy Adams on one of their sets to the point that she would cry at the end of every day. And I don't want to watch a movie by someone who made Amy Adams sad or groped their trans niece. Both of those.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's the movie that I was really annoyed about because it has like Christian Bale, John David Washington, Margot Robbie. It has like just a shit ton of people in it. I'm like, great, love you guys. Thanks for working with an abuse.
Yeah.
But Von Trier is also not a great dude. But I think this movie rules. I really like the aesthetic of this movie.
See, I think that was my biggest hurdle. I was like, I think I would have liked this movie twice as much had it actually.
I was immediately on board with what they were doing. I get it. I was into it. I was like, this is great. I love it. It's filmed. For those who have not seen Dogville, it is filmed on a soundstage with like big chalk markings of like where everything is. So the townhouse and the mine, it's mostly just chalk, but then it has like random little tiny things around.
Yeah,
like the entrance to the mine,
one wall or here and there or something. The very bare minimum of what they need to create the illusion.
Yeah, I love this idea. I thought it was great. I thought it really like shattered illusions of like privacy for small towns. I like the idea that walls don't exist and that like there is the scene where she is first oh no, it wasn't even the first time, but there's a scene where she's like being sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. Also, this movie's really brutal. We're going to be talking about a lot of bad stuff.
It is.
I usually talk about these things beforehand. So trigger warning, sexual assault, and child murder, and just a lot of bad slavery.
Yeah.
Just a lot of, it's an intense movie. But one of those times she's like sexually assaulted, it shows all of the townspeople kind of just like walking by. And it's, you know, I like the aesthetic of what they're going for with like no actual walls, because it's like they know exactly what's going on from the very beginning. Like there's no possible way. It's not just that like they can see them because obviously there's no walls, but they would be able to hear them. Like with a small town like that, everyone knows everything.
Yeah.
So I really like it. I really like the idea behind this, and it feels like a filmed play, which I'm always a fan of as well. So
yeah, no, I'm not entirely like I like that aspect of it, but I also think that could have been affected with like a decent set design. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like Kurosawa had some pretty good, like, layering shots, kind of like that kind of stuff in some of his work, where it's like, yeah, you can just, like, do big windows on some of these places and kind of create the same effect. But also, I don't know how much I fuck with the, like, themes and what this movie's trying to say. It comes off a little too nihilistic for me.
That's fair. It's a bummer.
It is.
It is a bummer of a movie.
This is a very bummer movie.
We've been watching a lot of those lately.
Yeah.
Von Trier said that it was about like when he's talking about it, he says it's about how evil can sprout from anywhere given the right circumstances.
Which
is pretty much what
there's a point early on in the film where Chuck's basically like talking about the differences between the city and the small life, and he's like, they fooled you, didn't they? Like, you know, all
this
humans
town
are
is
just as wrong.
This town is evil to its core.
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, okay. So, I don't know. I just wasn't fucking with, like, the idea. Like, I don't know. I guess I understand it, but it didn't particularly strike me as anything, like, super unique when I was watching it. But
I think, so, like, what do we got? The people with no power, when given power, immediately abuse it. One of the main things that happens in the movie. Is it wrong to enact revenge on those who do wrong to you? Because that's what happens to her. Nicole Kidman's character is, you know, trying to escape from, spoiler alert, her father and this life of crime that she's trying to get away from.
I was less appalled at that conclusion, but, like, there was a point for a second where I thought the actual conclusion they were coming to, because there's that line where she's basically like, why shouldn't I forgive them? Like, it's in, like, basically, like, there was a point where she was basically being like, it's in their nature to do this, so why should we blame them? And it's like,
well, and she's like, I would do this in the same... no, that's why I was also like, what? But then I really like what she comes to at the end, because she suddenly has this epiphany after trying to be so forgiving and trying to be so understanding of these, like, the plight of these people, is she suddenly just like, wait a minute. No, I fucking wouldn't do this if I had this power. Absolutely not. This is fucked. Kill them all.
Yeah. Which, yeah, that town is fucked. Over the course of the movie, I was like, oh my god. Like, some of the shit they just put her through is like, between her getting, like, sexually assaulted by all the men and verbally assaulted by all the women. It's just like, oh my god, leave this poor woman alone. I hate seeing Naomi Watts in distress. But
that wasn't Naomi Watts.
It wasn't?
That was Nicole Kidman.
Oh my god. Well, never fucking mind that.
Never mind, I love seeing Nicole Kidman in distress.
Yeah. No. Yikes.
They look similar.
They do look similar.
It.
God, I get them mixed up sometimes, I guess. Shit.
No, I get it. I think what they were saying was pretty powerful, and I think it was effectively executed. And although I don't think these are things that are, like, that have never been said before, I think putting them together, putting these different theses together, and exploring them in this way of, like, stripping away all the fancy sets and stripping away all the, like, music cues and just becoming bare bones to the point where this town exists in a void. You know, it exists in the black nothingness. I think is an interesting exploratory way for the movie to handle it, I guess. And, yeah. So, yeah, Nicole Kidman, she escapes from the mafia, and she winds up in this small little town of... What was the fucking town called? Dogville. I can't believe I did that.
I mean, I can't believe I just called fucking Nicole Kidman Naomi Watts. So. She finds the small town of Dogville where Paul Bettany, who plays Thomas Edison Jr., not that Thomas Edison, is like a young little philosopher guy. He's trying to make the town a better place. And he meets her and he's like, we got to accept her into our ranks and, like, take care of her. They're like, we don't know. But she's like, I'll work for you for the next 2 weeks and you can decide then. She's also got gangsters after her.
So they're like, no, we're not going to do that. But she convinces them over the next 2 weeks to let her stay. And they do. But then they start benefiting from this more than they thought possible. And they start taking advantage of the situation. And when the police start showing up and putting up wanted signs, they start going like, well, you can't get money anymore for what you're doing. And you have to work longer hours. And you have to visit us more. and they start taking more and more advantage of her as her situation gets more and more dire. It's like capitalism. What?
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
What? Oh no, the IRS, they're breaking in. And what starts out as the movie is I do think the first 3 acts, they're able to effectively, like, make this illusion of a happy town, you know? But then you're like, this movie's 9 acts, the 9 chapters. When the fuck is something horrible gonna happen? And it happens maybe like halfway through 4, and she starts being seen less and less as a human as time goes on, and more as like a tool for entertainment, for sexual gratification, for work. They start chaining her up when she tries to escape, because she goes
doesn't
to
even try to escape.
Yeah. Well, she tried. Yeah.
I guess she did try to escape,
because Thomas Edison was like, "We'll get you out of here." He gets the one person like they trust to go, and then he turns her in.
Yep.
And then she just kind of suffers for the last like 2 acts, and then fucking James Caan shows up. And he's like, hey, yo, I'm from the mafia.
Yeah.
That's exactly how he sounds.
I'm your dad.
And he's like, hey, where's my daughter, you son of a bitch? And they get in the car, and she's like, I don't want to go back to a life of crime. And he's like, here's the deal. Life of crime? Life as a slave. And she's like, huh. And she decides to go back with her dad. And she remembers what Chuck said. She remembers all the things she endured. And she's like, kill them all.
Yeah.
But she leaves the dog alive.
She does.
She's smart.
For the first time, the very last shot of the movie,
the dog appears.
The dog appears. That was by far above, like, the rest of the movie. That moment.
The dog appears.
I was like,
magical.
Oh. I'm still kind of chewing on this one. I'm not.
When did you watch this one? Was this a recent watch?
I watched this one Saturday. So
you've had some time, though.
Yeah, I've had some
mull
time.
over it. Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I just really.
You're just not on the Von Trier train, which is okay.
Every
I get it.
Von Trier movie I see, I'm like, I kind of want to like this.
Like you get it.
Yeah.
But you're just like not on board with it.
Yeah.
You see the train, but you just don't want to get on the train.
Pretty much.
Which is fine. I get it. Like, there's never been a Von Trier movie that I'm like, no, people have to like this. Like, I'm like, I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've liked all the movies we watched by him, but he's not a director that I especially like need to watch. Like,
yeah,
I don't feel bad about the fact that I don't want to watch any of his movies because he's not a great dude.
Yeah,
I'm glad I watched the movie because like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I like what it's going for, and I like the aesthetic of it. But I get why you wouldn't like this or you wouldn't be on board with it all the way.
Yeah, and part of it may have just been my mood. Like, the second I saw it, it was like a fucking, like, the sound stage. I really just wasn't what I had in mind. I was like, fuck, I want to watch movies with fields and shit, like Barry Lyndon. That's why I picked it.
I was actually the exact opposite. I finished Barry Lyndon, I started Dogville, I'm like, yo, this is cool!
Yeah, I was like, god damn it, this is not what I want. It's like a scene where she looks out a window and it's like, I can't see.
That's the point.
I know.
But I get it. You don't have to like it just because that's the point.
It's just like, god damn.
But I was vibing with the idea behind it.
Yeah.
And I do think that the ending is pretty gratifying for me. I'm like, good. Especially when she's like, that woman, tell her that if she's... can not cry while we murder her children, we won't kill her.
Yeah, well, her one kid was a fucking creep.
Yeah, he was. And it's like, even the children are rotten to the core, you know. It's, No, I do think this movie's incredibly nihilistic, and that's, but I get what they're saying, and I somewhat agree with what they're saying. I do think, like, especially in a, like, corrupt society.
Yeah.
Giving power to, like, the lowest class, like, the poorest people with no, like, new structures in place. It's still going to be that same power structure that is corrupt, even if it's new people in power. It's like the whole structuring is evil.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. But yeah, I don't know. This movie just made me feel bad.
I did too.
Built you up and then it knocked you down.
But sometimes I wanted to feel bad watching this movie. Like this movie took me for a ride. I think it did what it wanted to do effectively. Pierre actually brought up this question. He's like, because he just watched the new cyberpunk anime, and he said that made him feel sad at that. He's like, do you ever like not want to like a show or a movie because it made you feel sad at that? And I said, no, I usually like it when things make me feel sad at that.
Yeah, I typically do too, but it depends on in the fashion in which it's done.
Yeah, this makes you feel kind of like a piece of shit for watching this. Like
this kind of, I don't know, the movie seems to like me indicate that it's like, you exist, you're kind of a fucking piece of shit. Like, that's kind of what it feels like. Like, not that I inherently disagree. Like, I think every human has the ability to be, like, good or bad. And I think it's easier to lean towards, like, neutral or bad. Because it's just...
Because it's more effective to be good to yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same, like, opportunistic feeling that, like, Barry Lyndon did. But that one isn't as cruel to humanity as this movie.
Definitely not.
But... yeah, I guess I just am a fan of hopeless cinema, and it makes me kind of want to be a better person, because I'm like, we do have the capacity for evil, and it's easy to have the capacity for evil, but because of that, we should strive to be better.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's just my fucked up brain, but I'm like, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
It reminds me that I could be a piece of shit if I wanted to, but I won't.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something about Lars von Trier's execution always comes off as... I can't quite explain it. I think it's something with the dialogue, but something's clunky about it to me. I need to, like... because every time I watch a von Trier movie, they're always, like, spaced apart by, like, 9 months.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't ever, like, really bring it down to a science quite yet. Like I can with some directors who I've, like, binged back to back.
That's fair. I do think I really liked... most of the main actors in this. Fucking Philip Baker Hall's in this. It was kind of a small role, but it was so nice to see him.
Yeah.
He was pretty great in this.
Delightful.
Yeah.
He was Thomas Edison Sr.
It was very funny watching this because Skarsgård, whatever Skarsgård, the father, is a bit... no. Stellan Skarsgård? Is that the dad? The one that plays Chuck in this. I think it's Stellan.
I don't think it's Stellan.
It's not? We'll figure this out right now. Hold on.
Because Bill is the one who is Pennywise.
Yep.
It's... oh, man. It's like right on...
It's Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh, it is?
It's... I was right. Anyway, he's in Andor.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just like... that guy's in Star Wars. And then I looked at Paul Bettany and I said, that guy's in Star Wars and Marvel. Yeah. And I'm like, then I looked back at Stellan Skarsgård and I'm like, that guy's in Marvel.
The whole time with Paul, I was like, I didn't realize it was him. And I was like, who is
he also has, it's weird sound, like he has a weird accent in this. He has a strange, like, vernacular way of talking.
That, and I think most of the times I've seen his face, it's either got some makeup
or scarring,
something on it, because I've only seen him in... I may have seen him in other stuff, but the only things that come to mind are Solo and when he's Vision.
Yeah.
So... also, not a great guy.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, it's the Ryan O'Neal and Stanley Kubrick pairing of these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like Dogville. I also like his accent in this because it's kind of weirder, because it sounds like a proto-intellectual, which is like, he's or like a pseudo-intellectual where he's trying to sound smart in this.
Yeah.
Which feels like what his character's trying to do. He's trying to, like, you know, grasp this philosophy and, like, be holier than thou than the rest of the town, when really he just falls in as a follower as soon as, like, they group up on him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, brutal movie. I get people that would not like this. I think more people would not like this than Barry Lyndon. But
yeah, probably. Just
I think there's also a decent chunk of people that would like this a lot.
Yeah. I could also see this maybe having an in with a bigger and better in to like overall just like theater crowds.
Yeah.
Just
because of the like structuring of it as well.
Yeah. Breaking up into acts.
The John Hurt fucking narrator voice. It's John Hurt just be like, and yeah.
I didn't even realize.
And it's just like, oh, this makes me feel really sad because he's like just really like kind of jovial the entire time.
You know what's a good movie that makes me real fucking sad that has John Hurt?
Snowpiercer.
Elephant Man.
That is more sad than Snowpiercer by a lot.
Yeah, it is. But it's also that one's also got just a tiny bit of hope.
Elephant Man or Snowpiercer? Both.
Yeah, both.
This one has a smidgen of hope, but even less than Elephant Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
I want to rewatch The Elephant Man.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about this movie?
No, not particularly.
I think you're hovering around a 5 or a 6. I think you're going to go with a 5. It's a 4. If you say 3, I'm going to stab you in the chest.
No, despite the fact that like I didn't like this movie, I would still probably give it like a 6 or a 7. I'm somewhere between there. I really wanted it to be like an 8 or a 9.
So you could be like, okay, I get it. I get why people like this director.
Yeah, but no, like it struck me. It had the building blocks. Like I liked what it was going for, but I probably would have taken it a slightly different direction. But that's just my preference. Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll just fucking begrudgingly sit down and pirate some Lars von Trier movies and try to figure out why I don't like his movies, not him as a person. I mean, maybe the two will be just super intertwined. Yeah. But because I always think of that like panel that he's at with fucking for like Melancholia, where he just starts talking about like Nazis on stage or something, and
you see Kirsten just like,
yeah, he's just like, oh. Lars von Trier is such a fucking weirdo. I also always think of that interview from like Bergman, where he's always like in his office and Ingmar Bergman probably jerked off right here in this chair.
That's a funny thing.
That one's kind of funny, but it's also like, you're such a weird creep. Probably all over the house. I don't even remember if he sounds like that. That's just my creep voice. But you would give this a 9.
I think so. I'm at an 8 or a 9. I think I'll go with a 9. Yeah, let's go with a 9.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, Thomas, are we going with the stuff you had sent me, or are we switching to full moon?
Let's roll the dice on it.
Okay.
Let's just roll one die for this one.
One die.
Let's say
evens and odds. Yeah.
Evens will be a Vincent Price episode. Odds will be a full moon episode of sorts.
Because it sure will be odd.
Oh, yeah.
It's a full moon episode. Thomas is immediately like, I regret this decision.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't even have any picks. So
okay.
Let's both just toss some suggestions into the hat.
Okay. Let's do this together. Here we go. Are we trying to do stuff that we haven't seen, or at least haven't both seen, maybe, or?
Yeah, I'd say probably aim for stuff.
Or should we just, like, hit the big hitters? Like Puppet Master 1?
Do you think we should do a series? I mean, there's a couple series we could just sink our teeth into. Like, we could do, like, a Evil Bond or a Gingerbread Man episode or a Killjoy episode or...
Absolutely fucking not.
We could do a Puppet Master episode or... There's 4 Ghoulies movies.
I regret this decision immediately.
Or we could just pick 5 random ones. Do like...
Let's see.
all the demonic toy movies.
We did well, no, we didn't do Reanimator. We watched Reanimator. We did From Beyond.
Oh, yeah, I guess we didn't cover Reanimator in that episode, did we?
No, because we were watching other...
Well, that one technically
ones,
falls
right?
under the Empire.
That's fine. But it's literally Charles Band's...
Yeah, but the quality difference is quite different between the 2 production companies.
Okay, so we're not including Empire. That's fine.
We can. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. We did Castle Freak.
Yeah, that was great. We could do the remake of Castle Freak.
Oh, I didn't realize they did a remake. We could do the Resonator.
Oh.
Then the sequel that they did for it that I still haven't seen.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, Beyond the Resonator.
That was a tough one. Okay, here we go. What if we do... we should watch Tourist Trap.
Okay, we can do Tourist Trap.
Okay.
I'm going to just say fuck Ghoulies 1 and just go straight to Ghoulies 2.
Which that means I'm going to go watch Ghoulies 1, you piece of shit.
You can fucking watch Ghoulies 1 all your fucking...
Is Ghoulies 2 even a full moon?
It's Empire. It's Empire. We already did Robot Jocks. And plus, I guess that's not horror, so we probably shouldn't pick that one.
Terrific how good it is.
Yeah. Just because I love it, and we're going to do Reanimator, the first one. Got to have one really, really good one on here.
We have not covered Reanimator on the podcast, right?
No, we did a bunch of other Stuart.
I just want to double check.
Yeah.
So, what was that? Tourist Trap, Ghoulies 2, Reanimator?
Yep. Let's see.
Can we watch Terror Vision?
Sure.
Cool.
Terror Vision. We got to pick a real stinky...
These might all be
these are all Empire. So we got to pick...
Actually, I think Tourist Trap is Charles Band Productions, which I think might have been before fucking Empire.
Yeah. We got to pick one piece of shit. Just one fucking...
I was gonna say Oogie Boogie, but that's just insanely racist. I don't
know.
We can watch Corona Zombies. Actually, that's just a recutting of an old movie.
Oh, I was like... You know what? Maybe we don't have to do another shitty one. You want to do Demonic Toys?
We could do The Killer Eye. That's a shitty one.
Did we watch that one together?
I have not seen The Killer Eye. You have not seen The Killer Eye.
Or am I...
That's a real shitty one. That's a shitty movie too. You want to do The Killer Eye?
Sure. Okay. So it's...
Okay, yeah, let me add these before we forget.
Yeah. The Killer Eye, Reanimator, Ghoulies 2.
Okay, hold on. The Killer Eye, Reanimator, Ghoulies 2,
Terror Vision, and then I don't remember.
I said Tourist Trap.
Tourist Trap. That's right. All right. Well, it's not quite a full moon, but
Charles Band presents Screen Weens.
Do you think if I reached out to Richard Band again, he might do a special theme for that episode?
I don't know. You never helped him buy a gift card for his broken leg or whatever.
Yeah, he had a broken leg and had to buy gift cards for his family for the holidays. So he asked if I could buy them for him. And sadly, I was just a little low on funds at the time, so I couldn't afford to give Richard Band some gift cards. That was great, though. I loved that he asked me that.
Yeah, it was really him.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, it was really his email that sent it to me. Well, kind of. I remember it was from his email, but it also listed another email with it.
Damn it, I forgot one.
Oh, what?
Well, do you want to add one more? Because they're all like an hour and 10 minutes.
What is it?
It's called Creepazoids. It's by the same director as The Killer Eye, and I've heard it sucks, but I know one guy who says it's great, and I'm like, okay.
Okay, sure, why not?
We're gonna add Creepazoids.
Hopefully it's on Tubi TV, or else I don't know where I'm gonna find it.
Here, I'll tell you where you can watch all of them real quick.
Okay. Hopefully all of them are on Tubi TV. Minus Reanimator. I own, 2 different copies of Reanimator, so I don't need...
All right.
I don't need that one to be on Tubi.
Okay. Reanimator is on Tubi. Terror Vision, we're going to need to find that one.
Okay.
Tourist Trap, Tubi. Ghoulies 2, I probably will need to rent that one digitally. It's not on there. Killer Eye is on Prime Video for some reason. Creepazoid is on Tubi.
Okay, so I'll have to...
So, Ghoulies 2 and... Oh my god, he has a camera in this picture.
He does.
I need to watch Ghoulies. What are you, piece of shit? I just realized now I need to watch 7 movies instead of...
I'm sorry.
And if I watch 2, I'm probably just going to be like, okay, I'm going to watch this. But that's my...
Well, only Ghoulies 1 and Ghoulies 4 have anything to do with each other. So... You're good to watch Ghoulies.
They don't even go to college in the second one.
No, that's the third one.
And that one's the really good one, right? 2 is the good one, right? 2
is the one I actually...
That's by Charles Band's dad.
Yeah, 2 I actually unironically is. That's a pretty good fucking B movie.
You know what? We're actually watching, some good... Tourist Trap, I think, is a good movie.
Yeah. I think Reanimator is a good movie.
Yeah.
I think Ghoulies 2 is a genuinely good B movie. It's not a great fucking movie. But
I've heard Terror Vision is fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen Terror Vision, but I've seen clips from it from reviews and stuff. And
we need to go back to the drawing board on this. We need a more bad movie. Let's watch 10 full movies. No.
Let's just slap Killjoy on the list and that'll level it out.
Oh, God. No, thanks.
Yeah. But yes.
Full moon!
Yeah, don't worry. You'll watch Ghoulies 1 before Ghoulies 2, and that will satisfy your bad craving.
I'll also be watching The Killer Eye, which got a sequel. Because it's full moon, of course it did.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I hope you're excited, because it's Scream Weens starting next week. Be ready to piss your pants with anticipation.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Not because you're scared, just because it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, the cat.
Oh, you can hear the ghost.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Adios.